everyone, welcome to chemistry class. I am Shanabasappa Sagar, chemistry teacher. Previous class we learnt about the types of chemical reactions, where we learnt about the exothermic and endothermic reactions, and even we learnt about the oxidation reduction reactions, which will call as even redox reactions. And with the help of some examples, only few examples we saw in previous video. So let us learn some more examples of oxidation and reduction reactions briefly with well explained. Before going to learn about the oxidation and reduction examples, let us recall definition of an oxidation and reduction and where this oxidation reduction reaction occurs. Oxidation is nothing but it is adding of oxygen, or we can say that gaining of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen we can call as oxidation. Opposite of that is reduction, where addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen. Addition is nothing but gaining, we can say here. So to remember the oxidation reduction, we will get confused which you have to add and which you have to remove. For oxidation reduction both will get confused. So I made an easy trick to remember the oxidation reduction reactions. That is the easy trick is GOLY, GOLHY, GOLHY, nothing but um, gaining of oxygen, leaving hydrogen, gaining oxygen, leaving hydrogen, GOLY. This is an example of oxidation reaction. This GOLY formula is for oxidation. So opposite of that is reduction, we can remember easily. So one, if you remember by the trick, opposite you can remember. If you written GOLY, gaining of oxygen is gaining of oxygen, leaving hydrogen is oxidation, means opposite of that means gaining hydrogen and leaving oxygen. That is reduction. Gaining hydrogen or removal of oxygen will call as reduction. So need not we should not know any formula for reduction. Oxidation opposite is reduction only. So gaining of oxygen, leaving hydrogen. GOLY is an easy trick to remember addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. So let us see the examples of oxidation reduction reactions here. Redox reactions involving the loss and gain of oxygen. So where oxygen is lost and where oxygen is gaining, we will learn in this reaction, chemical reaction. So first one, zinc oxide reacts with the carbon which is solid. Zinc oxide also solid and carbon also solid. I told you in previous class, I think all metallic oxides are solid in nature, and even metals also solid. Only liquid metal is there, that is bromine is a liquid metal. Zinc will get solid and carbon monoxide will get a gas. CO means carbon monoxide. Don't think the CO as cobalt, because capital C, small o is cobalt. Carbon monoxide is because when zinc oxide releases left oxygen, it has been taken by carbon. So now tell me in this reaction which is oxidized, which is reduced, and which is oxidizing agent and reducing agent. These two terms are very important, oxidizing agent and reducing agent. They ask in many times, they ask in exams. Here in first A, which is oxidized, zinc oxide has lost oxygen. See, zinc oxide lost oxygen. Why? Because zinc oxygen oxide has lost and become zinc. Means here in zinc there is no oxygen, because zinc oxide has left. Zinc oxide has reduced to zinc. Zinc is not reduced to zinc oxide, okay, because zinc oxide reduced to zinc, and whatever the oxidizing agent, reducing agent, we can take from reactants only, not from the products. We will not get any oxidizing agent and reducing agent in the product side, only reactant side will get. If zinc oxide is reducing, because O is removing means what? Removal of oxygen is nothing but reducing. So zinc oxide has lost oxygen to form zinc metal. Hence ZnO has been reduced. Which is reduced here? Zinc oxide is reduced. Why it is reduced? Because it has lost oxygen. Okay. Then which is oxidized? Carbon is a simply metal. This carbon here it becomes carbon monoxide. Means carbon added oxygen, means by adding oxygen we will get carbon monoxide. So addition of oxygen, we know that what we will call addition of oxygen. Yes, it is oxidation. Carbon has gained oxygen to form carbon monoxide, hence carbon has been oxidized. So if they ask which is reduced and which is oxidized, we can say that product, whatever the reduced and oxidized, that will be in the product side, but the reducing agent and oxidizing agents are in the reactant side. So zinc oxide is reduced to zinc, carbon is oxidized to carbon monoxide. Next, which is called oxidizing agent and which is reducing agent. Zinc oxide is left oxygen because it has reduced. So it is reduced means it is a oxidizing agent. Why? Because it is helping for carbon to add oxygen. So that zinc oxide is reduced, it loses the oxygen, it given oxygen. So that zinc oxide is called oxidizing agent. Agent means if zinc oxide doesn't have oxygen, then we will not call it as a agent. Which have oxygen, then we will call as agent. It is agent because it is giving oxygen to zinc, carbon monoxide. Okay. Next, carbon has gained oxygen. So carbon has gained oxygen means it has received the oxygen. Received means what? Hence carbon, we can say that it is a reducing agent. Why it is reducing agent? Because it has, because of carbon, zinc oxygen is removed by the zinc. So this oxygen is received, means we can say that carbon has gained the oxygen, so that it is reduced. Carbon is reduced to carbon monoxide. Carbon is called reducing agent, or in short term we can say that if zinc oxide is reduced, then it is oxidizing agent. If carbon is oxidized, then it is a reducing agent. Opposite, vice versa, we can say that. Understood, students all? So let us go for one more example to clarify detail. Iron oxide when reacts with aluminium will get iron and aluminium oxide, Fe2O3 plus 2Al, means ferric oxide when reacts with aluminium will get iron and aluminium oxide. Here what will happen, which are reducing agent, which is oxidizing agent, just I think you can tell easily. Ferric oxide contains oxygen, so ferric oxide reduced to iron. Reduced, why it is reduced? Because it has lost oxygen. So which is reduced? Ferrous oxide, Fe2O3, this has been reduced. Fe2O3 is reduced because it has lost oxygen. So ferric oxide, that is Fe2O3, has lost oxygen to form iron. Hence Fe2O3 is reduced. If it is reduced, then which is oxidizing agent? This is only Fe2O3 only oxidizing agent, because it have oxygen, it is helping aluminium to get oxidized. So which will do help for another metal to gain the oxygen, that will call as reducing agent. Next, aluminium. Aluminium has gained oxygen to form aluminium oxide. So it has gained the oxygen to form aluminium oxide, means aluminum is oxidized. Before it was only aluminium, but after adding oxygen it becomes aluminium oxide. So it is oxidized. Oxygen is added to aluminium. Aluminium oxide formula is Al2O3, and we know that why aluminum oxide formula is Al2O3. Why? Because in criss-cross formula we learnt in previous class, 9th class, that aluminum and oxygen, what is the valency of aluminum? +3, and oxygen valency -2. Criss-cross both, what will get? Al2O3, that is Al2O3. Aluminum oxide formula is Al2O3. Okay. Aluminum gained oxygen to form Al2O3, hence aluminum is oxidized. Then which is oxidizing agent and which is reducing agent? How can we know that? Which is reduced, that is oxidizing agent. Which is oxidized, that is reducing agent. Understood clearly? Which is reduced, that is oxidizing agent. Means here which is oxidizing agent? Fe2O3, that is ferric oxide is oxidizing agent. And which is oxidized? Aluminum is oxidized. So aluminum is reducing agent. In exam they will ask which is oxidized to what and which is oxidizing agent, which is reduced to what and which is reducing agent. If they ask oxidizing agent and reducing agent, you should tell from the reactant side only, not from the product side. But if they ask if the reactants reduced to what, if they ask compound question, if the reactants, if they reduced and becomes what, then you can say that from the product side. Okay, I think to understand better about the oxidizing agent and reducing agent and oxidation reduction reactions, this both oxidation reduction reactions in one equation, if you found, then we can say it as a redox reaction. So even we can say it as a redox reaction also, because both oxidation reduction reaction we can see in a single equation. So it is an example of reduction reaction. So some more examples I will give in a worksheet to know the better. Next concept, last concept of the lesson, that is effects of oxidation reactions in everyday life, that is corrosion. Effects of oxidation, we can say corrosion and rancidity. First one is corrosion, second is rancidity. If oxygen is added to the metals, what will happen? The process of slowly heating up of metals due to attack of atmospheric gases such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc. on the surface of the metals is known as corrosion. Or else if you getting difficult to understand the corrosion definition, I will say the easy definition to you. The degradation of metals by the action of air, moisture or acids, we can say as a corrosion. The degradation of metals, because metal when attacked by the oxides, it will get reduced, so that will call as corrosion, means it lose the original property of that. So example, the most common example of a corrosion is rusting, that is a corrosion of iron. Rusting, we will see how iron get rusted. When an iron articles remains exposed to detail about rusting of iron, we are going to study in a third chapter, that is metals and non-metals. Here we will learn about the once again we will learn corrosion in third chapter also with examples detail. Here also we will learn about the corrosion. When an iron article remains exposed to moist air, when an iron article remains exposed to moist air for a long time, its surface is covered with a brown flaky, that is non-sticky substance called rust. When iron, if you exposed for a long time with a moist air, for example, iron will not get rust in a dry place, or if iron nails, if you dip completely in water, it won't get rust, because iron need moisture, both water and oxygen to get rust. So rust is mainly nothing but it is hydrated ferric oxide, is very important. Rust is also called hydrated ferric oxide. I am underlining this word, hydrated ferric oxide. What is hydrated means? Ferric oxide, we know that Fe2O3. Along with Fe2O3, if it attaches the water molecule with it, that is XH2O written here. So X is nothing but you may take 1H2O or 2H2O, whatever. So this is called hydrated ferric oxide. If Fe2O3 point something, whatever the number of water molecules which is attached to that, we will call that as a hydrated. Okay, about this hydrated or water of crystallization we are going to learn in third chapter in detail. So this rust is mainly composed of hydrated ferric oxide. It is formed due to the attack of oxygen gas and water vapor present in the air on the surface of iron. See, iron will not get rust easily. Iron will get rust by the presence of H2O and O2 both. So this will call as moisture. H2O and O2, this will call as moisture, because iron will not get rust easily. Iron will rust in the with the help of moisture only. In atmosphere we will found water and carbon oxygen both. So by the combination of this both, when they react with iron, it will get rust. So it is a slow degradation process where metal will reduce to its metallic oxide. So this ferric oxide, hydrated ferric oxide, is also called as rust. Hydrated ferric oxide will also called as a rust, and the formula of rust is Fe2O3 2H2 actually, but here XH2O means in the place of X you can write number of water molecules which is attached to the rust. If the rust deepen, it may get corroded completely, and it's gradually eaten up the metals. As a definition, it is a slowly eating up of metals due to the attack of these atmospheric gases, which is oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc., or even sometimes acids also. Next, even not only iron brown flaky substance will get iron, it shades its color. Apart from that, copper, this reaction will come to know that when copper reacts with carbon dioxide, oxygen and water, that is in liquid form, so we will get basic copper carbonate, CuCO3 is point CuOH taken twice written here, This copper carbonate and copper hydroxide will call as basic copper carbonate. It is basic copper carbonate. CuCO3 along with CuOH taken twice is called basic copper carbonate, which is green in color, which turns to green color. So before it was a copper color, it changes to basic green color. That green color is due to green color is called basic copper carbonate. In the above reaction, copper lose their shining after some time. So why the copper loses shining? If you kept copper vessels for more time, or if you are using copper vessels in your home, or if you more time, if you not wash that with what you call pitambari, or sometime some lime also, even lemon also we use to clean the copper vessels. What happens if you not clean that? It attracts it loses its shiny color, and it attacks some color to that. Okay, the surface of copper acquires a green coating. It attacks the green coating. That green coating is nothing but basic copper carbonate. When exposed to air, the copper loses its shiny color, and to avoid that shiny color, and again to regain the color, we used to wash with lemon, or sometimes we will call a pitambari, which will apply for copper vessels, and again it starts shining, because it removes the oxide layer from that, so that it shines again. This is due to the attack of oxygen, carbon dioxide and water vapor present in the air on the surface of water, same as in iron. So copper also, when reacts with carbon dioxide, oxygen and water, it gets hydrated, and it turns its color into green color. That green color is nothing but basic copper carbonate. Similarly, not only iron and copper, another metal which we will call as silver. Similarly, the surface of silver metal gets tarnished. Tarnished means it changes its color, that is it loses a shining and becomes dull on exposed to air. Silver articles, if somebody are wearing, they will come to know that after wearing some time, silver article, silver ring or silver medal somewhere, some rings, or in neck, some people are wearing silver articles, okay, some god statues, something. After exposed to heat, for example, even in our body also, some sulfur is releasing from our body, then that sulfur when combined with hydrogen, it forms hydrogen sulfide. So this silver, when reacts with hydrogen sulfide from the body, it changes to black color. Silver articles turn, see, if you kept silver vessels or silver articles for more time, it turns to black color. This black color is due to the formation of black silver sulfide. Silver sulfide, why? Because silver attacks sulfur to that, and it loses the hydrogen. So this silver sulfide is a black in color, Ag2S. That's why silver color changes to black color. So by the action of H2S gas, this is hydrogen sulfide gas present in the air, or even it is present in our body also. When we release gases, along with that even sulfur also releases, along with sulfur when hydrogen combines, that hydrogen and sulfur when they combine, it forms hydrogen sulfide. So silver and hydrogen sulfide, when they combine with each other, it forms a silver sulfide. This silver sulfide attaches to the silver articles, and it gives the black color. It changes the silver color to the complete black color. If you not washed, tarnished properly, it remains black color only. Again there is a removal to avoid this black color. Should remove with some lemon or some stain remover you can use, and it releases hydrogen gas. Hydrogen is a gas. Next, we will watch the video to understand about the corrosion of a metal. So as I told you the definition, the degradation of a metal by the action of air, moisture or acids is called corrosion. The iron gets corroded by the action of water, carbon dioxide or acids. Red brown color changes, and even copper vessels change its color by the action of carbon dioxide, nitrogen and remaining gases, sulfur gases. See, nitrogen, carbon dioxide or carbonates, bicarbonates, it changes color. So green coating it occurs. So this is due to the oxide layer. It becomes copper carbonate and copper hydroxide. That will call as basic copper carbonate, which is basic in nature. not only even copper vessel. If you rub with a tamarind or lime, we can because it contains acid. Tamarind contains tartaric acid, lime contains citric acid. So those acids will remove the stain and we will get original color, shiny color will get. And even silver articles gets black color, as I told you, because this black color is due to the addition of sulfur present in the environment, or H2S, that is silver sulfide it gets, so to get a black color. Next concept. So rusting is a very serious problem because it weakens the structure of bridges, iron railings. If rusting, if you allow for to rust, it damages the bridges, and it damages the iron railings, and even automobile parts also damages. So every year large amount of money is spent to replace the rusted iron. Even many tons of iron is going to replace by the damaged iron. So an enormous quantity of iron is going to replace by the rusting. So even many some techniques are there to avoid rusting. We should coat with paints or greasing, oiling. Those are techniques are there that in detail we are going to learn in next third chapter. There is a note, a common metal which is highly resistant to corrosion is aluminum. We know that all metals get rust, but addition it adds oxygen to that, so that metals gets corroded. But aluminum, by adding oxygen, it does not allow the any moisture to get, and it does not allow the food to get oxidized. So that aluminum oxidization is good for storing the food items. That is why food cans are coated with aluminum wire, because of this nature. Next very important concept, that is rancidity. What is rancidity? The oxidation of oils or fats in food resulting into bad smell and bad taste is called rancidity, or even we can say that spoilage of food. The aerial oxidation of oils and fats is called rancidity. If the food gets oxidation, if it adds oxygen, this aerial oxidation of oils and fats present in the food gets oxidized, that will cause rancidity, and due to this rancidity the food will get bad smell and bad taste, so nobody will eat that. Example, we have often noticed that the food containing oils and fat, if left for long time, it develops a bad taste and bad smell. We know that. This is because the oils and fats present in such foods get oxidized with the passage of time. So if a time passes, the food which is present kept open for time, open areas, it will add oxygen to that, and it lost the taste because it oxidizes. The products formed as a result of this oxidation are volatile and have a bad smell. For this reason, the taste of food also changes. So by combining with that oxygen with the help of food, the taste of food lost, and even change of color also occur sometime, and even if it lost water, it leaves water molecules after some time. And even we know that spoilage of food also is an example of rancidity. When you make rice, one day we can eat that, but after again by not keeping in refrigerator, if you kept outside, it leaves the water molecules, and even it gets a bad smell. That is nothing but it has lost, it is rancid, it became rancid. Then what are the methods to prevent rancidity? There are 4 methods are there mainly important. So first one we are going to learn, that is by adding antioxidants. The food industry, a number of special types of substances added before packing, it slow down the process of oxidation. In the food industries, special types of substances they will add before packing and all. Okay, so that those chemicals slows down the process of oxidation, and they help to avoid the rusting, what you call rancidity. Such substances are called antioxidants, which avoids the oxidation. We call as antioxidants. An example is BHA and BHT, which is called as butylated hydroxyanisole and butylated hydroxytoluene. These are the two chemicals which presence of these chemicals, the food will not get rancid. Or even in 8th class we learnt preservation of food by the oils, vinegars and salt. Even those also called antioxidants only, because it does not allow the food to get rancid. Pickles, while making the pickles will add oil more, or sometimes when vinegar also will add for some of the substances. Chopped onions, if you kept for more time, if you kept in a vinegar solution, it will not get rancid. It is also preservative. Second method is vacuum packing. In a number of cases, after packing the food, the container is evacuated before sealing, so that no air or oxygen is available to bring about the oxidation of the food. In 8th class, we learnt about that. By packing of the food, airtight containers, some food substances or some grains will cover in airtight containers, so that air will not pass in that, and the food will not get oxidized. Next one, replacing air by nitrogen. Some substances will not allow add air, and some substances instead of air will add nitrogen gas. For example, chips packets are flushed with nitrogen gas. Why? Because it prevents the oxidation. In foodstuffs, the air present around them is replaced by nitrogen in the packet containing foodstuff. Oxidation of the foodstuff is prevented. So this, by adding nitrogen, it doesn't allow the chips to get moist. That's why if you open the chips for some time, it gets moist, because of it gets oxidized. Okay, that's why if you in the chips packets, instead of chips, you will get more air only. So that air contains nitrogen. So those because of that nitrogen, the scripts the chips are in the form of a crispy. The crispy state is this to the crispiness of the chips are due to the presence of nitrogen gas. Instead of nitrogen, if you add any gas, the crispiness lost and it become wet. And last, we know that is a refrigeration of the foodstuff. Even this method is very common at home. We keep the foodstuff in the refrigerator. Due to the lower temperature, the oxidation is slowed down. Even milk and vegetables, everything will keep in a refrigerator to avoid the rancidity. Or even boiling also, you learnt in pasteurization also, I think you learnt in previous class, where milk is boiled at 70 to 75 degrees Celsius up to the 15 seconds, so that suddenly after boiling and suddenly chilling, it avoids the bacteria to get inside. So those all learnt in previous. These are the methods of to avoid the rancidity. So this is the end of this chapter. Corrosion and rancidity completes the first chapter, that is chemical reactions and equations. Next chapter will start with acids, bases and salts. Thank you.